Hi, my name is Carl Johann Schroeder. Welcome to my true story of mystery, magic, and healing about a visit from the man in the moon. Now, I've been working with my dreams and mystical experiences for the past 34 years, which has been awesome and gives me lots of wonderful stories to share in my career as a spiritual teacher and a life coach. Truly, the universe is a fantastic place of endless exciting possibilities, and God, also known as Great Spirit, God and Goddess, the Source, all that loves, or whatever name works for you, that Source totally loves you and is always reaching out to you with all the help and answers that you need to create the most amazing, perfect life full of health, wealth, and happiness forever. But as you and I know all too well, most of us have been severely traumatized on this planet. So until we learn to heal all that trauma, we do carry around a lot of fear, pain, and negativity that keeps us from believing in our full magical potentials. And what you don't believe in, you don't try for. And what you don't try for, you won't discover for yourself. And what you don't discover for yourself, you can't build up into your daily life experience. So, you are the most fabulous, creative, loving being you have ever imagined. Yes, you! If you could see the real you, you'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so jealous, I want to be you." And the real you would say, "Please do, please come be me. We belong together." Because the Source made you to be everything that you've always wanted, including having your own piece of the Source inside of you, so that you would learn to write your own endless, happy ever after life stories whenever you believe and feel that you can. And you can. Every human being that has ever become hugely successful and happy in creating their own relationships, their own career, their own art, their own inventions, their own adventures, whatever, those people have just begun to discover what every human being has in store for them. We all just need to heal that darn past that holds us back, that keeps us hurt and not believing in ourselves enough to say no to what's not good for us and yes to what we really have inside of us to grow and share with the world. We're here. We are amazing. We are the people who have come to take our planet back and make life beautiful again. So obviously, I get excited about these kinds of things. I like to encourage and inspire others. And to keep me going, there are those who encourage and inspire me. Now, I want to share with you a great healing adventure that I've been on for the past 3 weeks, and I'm celebrating it now, today, which is my birthday. That's right. The healing universe gave me a big birthday present that I'm packaging up as a video story to share with you for the great examples that it contains. Examples of how to work with dreams and synchronicities, how to heal trauma from the past of this life as well as other lifetimes, how to recover your true spiritual energy from the effects of depression and violence, and how to work with earth energies like the seasons and the moon. Yes, the moon, because yesterday was the full moon before Halloween, a spooky full October hunter's moon, so called because it gives light to farmers who are doing some extra hunting after harvesting their fields. Now, 2 weeks ago, when the night was dark with no moon visible at all, that's the new moon, I had a visit in a spooky dream from a man in the moon, a big scary creature who wanted me to heal something, and I did. Hooray! I got a new lease on life, thanks to principles that you can now glean from the following mystical adventure story, which I dare say is plenty fun and interesting in itself. I love to tell a good story, but more than just entertain, I want you to be empowered by the principles of life itself. So, to start, let's consider the season of autumn. All the fun and growth of summer is done, the weather is turning colder, and the crops have all been harvested. As you may well know, the end of harvest season is a time when the veil between worlds is said to be thin, and spirits can visit the living with greater ease. In Mexico, it is called the Day of the Dead, a time of celebration for the ancestors to visit family feasts and gatherings. In ancient Ireland, the time of Samhain was seriously feared by many people who dressed up as ghosts and demons to blend in with any real monsters and not be attacked. Now, this superstition led to our modern Halloween when people try to enjoy being scared. And that's a pursuit of dubious merit, I think. Only in the physical world can we fool each other with costumes and lies. In the vibrational world of energies, likes attract like. So unless you keep things truly silly and fun, playing with fear is going to attract more things to fear. Love and happiness are the only real shields to misfortune. People who are attracted to horror movies would do well to use mindfulness to figure out what's troubling them and heal themselves with self-care, rather than try to escape fears with more fears. Oh, it's just a movie, they can say, but then they wonder why the world looks so frightening and threatening to them. Now, fear is not bad in itself. It's just telling you to stop doing something scary and love yourself more. Fear divides the mind into defensive parts, so it takes a conscious choice to unite in more caring to pull it back together again. That is why tyrants use fear to rule, because it makes people mindless, divided, and weak. When I was a kid, I was shocked to learn that fundamentalist churches would stage Halloween hell houses full of horrific scenes to scare people into fearing and obeying God. What kind of God would want that? One that tortures you if you don't worship them, apparently. Well, my Baptist minister uncle would give us kids little comic books full of hell tortures, a different kind of torture for each non-Baptist to show the punishments they deserve if they don't convert. He was happy to bring me copies at extended family gatherings, and I was happy to collect them as proof of what a mean man he was and how bad his church was. As he kept inviting me to attend, and I would say, "No thanks, just more comics, please." I don't think he realized what conclusions he was feeding. But it seemed obvious to me, with my gentler Presbyterian upbringing, that Jesus taught mercy, tolerance, and love, not this madness. So I kept the cruel comics for evidence to give to the authorities, who would surely show up to shut down his false church. Instead of hell houses at Halloween, I wanted to see heaven houses full of angels, wondrous fairies, lucky dragons, dancing skeletons, and friendly ghosts like Casper. Any mean ghosts would be unveiled by Scooby-Doo to reveal misguided humans hiding their misdeeds. Hooray for the meddling kids! Now, into my adult years, I came to appreciate that Halloween is a time to welcome interesting spiritual visitors and profound experiences. This year, I had a particularly spooky cinematic dream that I call A Visit from the Man in the Moon. It came with a warning that felt very real and supernatural. So when I woke up, I knew that I had to do something. But what? Fortunately, I was able to solve the mystery within a week. So I want to share with you the lessons, which include symbolism, the unconscious, soul retrieval, and past life healing. A Visit from the Man in the Moon. I am with my spirit wife, and we're really happy in a small upper floor apartment that's like a dormitory. She's on a couch that's against the wall, and I'm facing her sitting in a chair. To my right is a sliding glass door to a balcony, and to my left is a hallway to the door that exits into the building's inner hallway. We are talking and touching and kissing. Suddenly, I'm horrified to notice that her bare left foot is covered in blood, and my right hand has a lot of blood on it too. I freak out. Have we been cut? Were we attacked? It seems like the blood is just on our skin, and we're okay. I reach down to grab the white landline telephone on the floor and call for help, and I see that the cord has been cut. Now it really seems like a horror movie, so I'm panicked that there's an attacker in the apartment. To my left is that hallway, and someone in the hallway says, "This is a warning." But they say it in this supernaturally low, spooky voice like, "This is a warning." I get up to go in the hall, and on the way I grab a gun that I had in the kitchen that's on the right side of that hallway. The creature is in the shadows of the dark hallway past the kitchen. My point of view separates, so I look at myself from the hall, like a camera would in a movie that's to the right of the creature. My character in Self, who's in front of me, says, "Where are you from?" And the creature to my left says, "You have been to our world once." I immediately conclude that he means the moon, and that human beings have visited the moon in the past. The creature explains that his parents are planning a big new moon festival, and he dared to suggest that they use my earth music because he likes it. So this is a warning that I must prepare some good music to prove that earthlings are worthy of a moon ritual, or else he and I will both be in trouble. Suddenly, the creature teleports to stand behind my character in front of me, and my character refuses to give in and turn around. I am freaked out to see that the creature is 8 or 9 feet tall, a big, muscled, pale-skinned giant with an elongated oval white face, dark crater eyes, and a mop of black hair on top. He is definitely not human. He looks like the man in the moon. My character points the gun behind his left shoulder to shoot the creature without even looking. Now, I know that this will do nothing to harm a monster who can teleport, and my wife, who's behind him, may even get shot. So I say no to stop the dream, and I wake up. Wow, that was intense. I never met a moon creature before, and this one felt very real and powerful. I like meeting aliens in dreams and meditations, especially when they communicate. The Moon Man was rather creepy, but he was also talkative and sympathetic, like a misunderstood monster asking for help. At first, I lay in bed worrying that the dream was a medical warning, but the blood seemed symbolic since it was coming from one hand and one foot with no cuts involved. Then I remembered that the night before, someone online had been describing a stigmata experience in which blood temporarily poured from his forehead with no wound behind it. That event was connected to a healing, so to me, the blood symbolized human life energy that was coming to the surface. Now, my wife is a recurring character. I have worked long enough with the parts of my soul that my inner woman and I meet frequently in dreams and meditations. She is often more than just a wishful gender projection like Carl Jung talked about with the anima for men and the animus for women. My spirit wife has her own consciousness from the upper spiritual planes, where she shows me how the afterlife works. She is literally attending an astral university, so I often visit with her in dreams of classrooms and dormitories or just walking around a campus. Now, you may think that sounds like a spirit guide, but she explained that we are eternal partners from the same soul, and we take turns incarnating. When one of us is on earth, the other guides from above and from within, as the rest of our total consciousness in the sacred inner marriage. Now, this fits with what is reported during Life Between Lives hypnotherapy as developed by Michael Newton. Hypnosis subjects consistently say that we incarnate with only a small portion of our total spiritual energy, and when we die, we reunite with that energy as a whole being when we go into the afterlife. So in my dream, my right hand symbolizes our masculine directed will, and her left foot is our feminine receptive earth grounding. This is because right tends to represent the masculine, willful choices, and the left is the receiving from the greater universe. So our love for each other keeps us together. And as the man with the hand, I need to figure out why our lifeblood is leaking. There must be a problem in the choices that I'm holding on to, and it's affecting her connection to me on the earth. Now the phone cord is cut because there is no one to call. The answer is here with us. So, in my fear, I grabbed with my right hand a gun, which is an absurdly phallic projectile defensiveness symbol. So I think the problem may be about male violence and projecting parts of myself. The creature spoke with an inhumanly deep, low voice, This is a warning. That sounds like one of those internet conspiracy videos where someone's voice is being masked. So the message seems to come from a deeply mysterious, unconscious place. And hopefully it's not threatening, it just wants to be taken seriously. Isn't it curious that I didn't ask the obvious questions like, who are you or what do you want? Perhaps a part of me already knows. I only ask, where are you from? To which he replies, you've been to our world once. For some reason, my mind translates this immediately into being from the moon. Now, the moon symbolizes the unconscious, wild urges, and lunatic madness. So no wonder I'm defensive and scared. The moon man feels like more than just a symbol to me. If anything, he's the real one, and the me who grabs a gun is just a shallow reaction. Perhaps that's why my point of view separated from myself and it sided with the creature. Of course, that kind of view switching also makes the dream more dramatic. It's like a movie that's building tension by putting the viewer on the side of danger while we get to see how the characters react. So, still laying in my bed that morning, I look up more connections on my phone. So I see the fact is that humans have been to the moon 6 times, not just once like the creature said. I know he's from the moon, but what am I misunderstanding? I also now find a text that I got last night after I went to sleep. It's from my friend Elizabeth, who wanted to talk tomorrow, which is now today, that morning. I can feel that she has something important to share, and she says, it's also the new moon today. This confirms to me the moon connection. I replied to her that I didn't know that it was a new moon, but I did just have an intense dream of a moon man. So we decide to meet for lunch, and I feel something can't wait. So what is the meaning of the moon man asking me for my music? Well, I have had spirits come to me in dreams before, wanting me to sing to them or sing with them. My music represents my abilities to create peace and harmony, to fit things together in a spiritual whole. Could the moon man be a part of Elizabeth? Does she want my help to settle something that's been unconsciously troubling her? This doesn't seem likely because the dream is so personal, including my wife and I are bleeding, and a warning that I need to do something right or else I'll be in trouble. So probably Elizabeth and I have something for each other. At lunch, Elizabeth tells me about a recent energy work session she did that brought up intense feelings and images to heal a past life trauma. I validate aspects of this experience, and I also say, wow. Coincidentally, I did a spontaneous visualization the week before to heal a past life trauma. I've been having a lot of back of neck pressure that feels like somebody hit me there. So I imagined a whole vivid story about being killed by someone that way. I thought about a guy I'd grown up with who was going to join the army to vent his rage from childhood abuse. Now, this is all imagined, but imagination can often be the door to what's real. So when I imagined that, I tried to talk him out of his life choice that would get him killed. Instead, he lost his temper and hit me too hard to shut me up. This visualization felt true enough because it was giving me some relief. Then I sensed the spirit soldier actually coming to me from the right side where I was sitting in a park. And it was coming to apologize to me for killing me. Well, I said, no, I don't trust you. I'm glad you're sorry now, but just stay away. So after lunch with Elizabeth, I started to consider that the moon man could be my unknown soldier. He said in the dream, you've been to our world once. I thought he meant collective you humans, but people have landed on the moon more than once. On the other hand, if when he said he meant just you, he meant just me, then yes, I went to his world once in that meditation the week before. So if the creature is human and not from the moon, Why did I feel so much moon energy? And why did I see him as a big, scary moon creature, a corpse-like giant with dark crater eyes and midnight black hair on top? Well, the moon is a powerful part of the collective unconscious. I think moon energy literally provides a psychic cover, a refuge for unconscious impulses that come up to the surface every moon cycle. The new moon was a chance to meet the energy at its lowest, safest point. And then the full moon will be the wild time to release. So the moon man was warning me that he and I needed to harmonize something, or else a violent energy will just keep getting worse in this Halloween month when spirits can affect the world most. Now, I don't like to think of myself as being violent, but I will admit to discovering the power of rage when I was a teenager. Unlike the moon man, my childhood was pretty gentle and safe. My parents were kind and educated. The violent, disturbing characters in my life were just relatives I don't have to live with, like my uncle and his hellish church comic books. Those people are all from my mother's side, where there had been a lot of childhood abuse from a cruel grandfather that my mother made sure I never met until I died when I was still a baby. He died when I was still a baby. My mom became a school teacher, committed to treating children with respect, even if she did remain nervous with untreated PTSD symptoms like extreme jumpiness. Now, I never met most of my dad's family because he grew up in World War II Germany. As a boy, he had escaped horrific bombings. And then, as soon as he could, he emigrated to the United States where he met my mom. So, both of my parents were trauma survivors, which is why I grew up with a lot of empathy for victims, and I didn't want to ever be violent. But when teenage frustrations became too much, I would shamefully curse, rage, and even smash things privately. So I decided that the moon man was this soldier I knew from a past life, and my mistake had been to become too preachy and judgmental toward him, thus triggering the rage that got me killed. Perhaps I had even been like my uncle, which is why my uncle bothers me so much. So in the next 3 days after the dream, I found myself becoming obsessed with solving the problem of spiritual violence. That is to say, how can people feel inspired and motivated, starting from a high spiritual place, and then end up putting that energy toward hurting and judging other human beings, which is a very low, awful energy? I discovered the answer, and it's that feeling violence and revenge is actually an energetic improvement over depression and powerlessness and despair. So the direction of liberation remains spiritual, even though you're becoming violent. Channeled teachers like Abraham Hicks and Lazarus both talk about this, and they have emotion charts that show energy rising up from victimhood and despair through violence and anger toward asserting boundaries and ending toxic relationships. Now the trick, of course, is to not act out that anger. Don't act out your energies until you reach a state of love and wisdom that will protect living things. If you express your rage in a safe place like journaling or music or emotional meditations, then the released energy will go toward busting internal blockages and cutting psychic cords, not busting external heads and cutting physical people. So 5 days after the moon man dream, I dared to share it in my dream group. I realized this was intense, but it could be instructive for how scary symbols don't have to be dangerous. Plus, I might get more insights from the group support. Several people encouraged me to look more at the moment that I split, the moment when I dissociated from the person I was and saw from the side of the moon man. That was when I became sympathetic to the moon man's request for my music to celebrate a moon ceremony. Only when the creature again switched sides, then he became obviously scary to me. When he stood behind my character, and then I saw he was a big corpse-like monster with dark crater eyes, that's when my character wanted to shoot a gun without looking behind him. So it does seem that I don't know or want to know what's behind my fears and violence. I ended the dream to save my wife because I don't want to lose my love. So I am still hoping to heal violence with love. I concluded my dream sharing in the group by mentioning that I was working on healing a past life that seemed connected to the dream. And then my friend Gail in the group said, "Is it a soldier? I'm seeing a soldier, someone of high rank." I had not mentioned a soldier at all. So she was tuning in, and she confirmed my past life visualization. By the way, I'll mention the way the dream group works is that person tells their dream twice slowly. Everybody visualizes it. And then you say, if it were my dream, I would think about this. That way, you're not forcing your interpretation on a person. You're not telling them what it means and what to do. You're just saying, if that happened to me, I would think of this. And then the person can take what matches what works for them. So, back to this story. The next day, I was ready to accept the full truth. The soldier was me. He was a violent past life with the anger that I needed to reclaim and reintegrate peacefully. Now, I've spent my whole life in the shadow of trauma survivors while trying to deny my own rage. The result of this has been recurring short bouts of depression and powerlessness, which I've gotten good at spiritually transcending, but not permanently healing. I like to journal and sing my own songs, and that helps me to energize when I'm down. Also, walks in nature. So I can jump into higher energy states of inspiration and bliss, but then some lower energies keep dragging me back down again. And that is exactly what Lazarus and Abraham Hicks warn about. You cannot skip emotional levels, or else they will keep haunting you. Low energies of depression and helplessness need to move up through assertive rage, anger, and blame. Then they can convert through disappointments to new choices for better supportive relationships. So this means that cord cutting, breaking your ties to abusive people, that is a process and a responsibility. If you don't integrate and transmute your side of a codependence, then the hurt energies will keep coming back. And indeed, many people have experienced that they leave an abusive relationship only to recreate the same thing with someone else. It's like they brought it with them somehow. That's your side of a codependency. So, in fact, I have argued with that uncle in my head because I've admired him for being a preacher, but also despised him for being a judgmental jerk. And I've argued with him in my head far more than I ever talked with him in physical life. So he is a side of me. Now, within a week, I was able to heal the dream and the past trauma behind it. And I did this by a technique I want to share with you called replay and rescripting. Now, this is not a big fancy thing. I just get alone and comfortable, and I talk to myself. I talk myself through the dream twice. The first time, I revisit all the details, and I bring up the feelings as much as I can, including now knowing the truth behind the symbols and events. I want love, and my love is at risk from my angry side, which is reacting violently to threats from the past. I'm not a mean person to feel rage, because my intentions are to heal, not hurt anyone. And then I go through the dream again, to rescript it and change it. I reimagine it any way that I wish it had gone. Now, you can try different alternatives like this with a dream or with the past memory of any kind. And you do this until it feels settled, like something shifted and changed on a deeper energetic level. This works. This rescripting works because energy remains where you left it. And secondly, power is conscious in the modern age. Lazarus says that in the 1800s, power was actually in the subconscious, which means that things you were previously exposed to were now ruling your life. Sigmund Freud announced the power of the subconscious just as it was actually departing. People spend years in therapy rehashing their childhoods without realizing how much they are actually perpetuating the problem. Today, power is conscious. And that means that whatever you deliberately think about is what is now running your life. That's why I said energy remains where you last left it, where you last think about it. So just by rethinking a dream or reimagining a past incident, you have all the power you need to change and heal yourself forever. And you'll know when it works. You'll feel a shift. You'll feel a change in perspective. There'll be a burst of emotion and a surge of new life energy. And you'll be able to do things that you could not do before. So in my case with the Moon Man, when I rescripted the dream, I just talked to all the characters. I said to my wife, "It's okay. I'm taking care of this now. We're not going to keep losing our lifeblood energy." To the Moon Man, I said, "You're awesome. I love you. You're so intense and brave to come to me after all we've been through." And I give him a big full Moon Man hug. To my reactive self, who was going to shoot the invader, I said, "No, it's okay. The threat is over. We're getting all of our energy back." Now, letting these decisions in, I felt great. I felt the shift of becoming bigger and stronger and full of life, like roar. There's no need for violence when we have all the power and knowledge we need to accomplish our goals in life. Now there's nothing stopping us. So this dream replay took a lot of attention and focus, and I felt done with my personal growth for the day. I congratulated myself, and that evening I joined my friend Gail's fun online group to play with getting psychic impressions about her photos of face-like rock formations. So the next morning, I just say that as an example of play to help integrate things. Have some fun in life. That's what life is for, to move things in the fun direction. The next morning, I woke up feeling empowered and celebrating. I had had a fun dream in which everyone's birthday was today. In my family, my mother, my father, my sister, me, all on the same day. And I was planning a big surprise party for all of us, and I was picking out gifts for everyone. This dream showed that every part of myself was on board and being reborn. The son and daughter are the current feminine and masculine energies, while the mother and father are the previous generation of feminine and masculine, the choices and the actions that got you to where you are now. I had a remarkable morning of feeling in sync with all levels of positive thinking, all the way up to the source. I actually felt like I was completely resonant and inside of God. But the test of my new energy levels came soon enough when I remembered a set of financial challenges that I had been avoiding. I needed to demand not one, but 2 refunds from online stores that had charged me incorrectly. I suddenly felt my worst defensive anger burst up, and I started imagining that I would have to fight to get my money back. I got really tense and I went into battle mode. I started mentally rehearsing what threats I would make on the phone. And I don't like it when I get this way. It's awful. I'm raging to compensate for feeling powerless and hurt around money. Oh, there's a great quote. Tom Baker, who played Doctor Who, he said, "Violence is a failure of the imagination." So yeah, violent people they're compensating for really being very powerless. Now, my dysfunctional rage is why I've been known to procrastinate on important chores, because I'm afraid of becoming a jerk who picks fights and makes the worst things happen anyway. So then, as I'm getting all defensive and tense in battle mode, I remembered the Moon Man. I remembered my inner soldier and how much he wanted to make peace with me. I felt him closer than ever before, and that's why I had gotten so angry so quickly. So I talked to him. I told us both to relax. I said, "I see you and I accept you. You're not bad and I'm not judging you. It is perfectly human to feel violent in self-defense. We just don't have to act on that feeling. In fact, I want to give the customer service people a chance to help me and to make them feel appreciated. I'm choosing now to think from the perspective of the source. And what came to me is that in the worst case, I'll lose my money, but at least I won't lose my soul. I won't forget my love. If I don't get my money back, then the source will compensate me for any losses with lessons for the best direction in life. And that way, I will remain in love and move on to increasing love." Suddenly, something wonderful happened that's never quite happened before. I didn't even know this was possible. That energy of active, violent, inner defensive rage instantly converted into bliss. I suddenly felt totally high and peaceful, like this golden warm honey glow bathing over me from head to toe. I have felt this before. I call it the love buzz. It's a kind of spiritual flow high that I can get into when I meditate, journal, or write. When I was young, I got it only when I was in love with a girl, so I used to think it was just infatuation energy. But then it started happening to me at other times as well. But it's never happened when I was in full battle mode, ready to attack or be attacked. So now, I couldn't be angry if I tried. I was too happy. I made the phone calls and I got both refunds with a little insistence, but I was nice to the customer service people. And it all went okay. I marveled at how different I felt from the powerlessness that I usually feel that leads me to procrastinate on a confrontation until I get so angry I could scream. So even when I survive those kinds of adrenaline rushes, those battle modes, I'm exhausted, burned out, and self-loathing afterward. But now I was blissed out and I was productive and I remained in the flow. So I went ahead and handled some more chores, and then I returned to writing a book that I'm working on. I decided to tackle a chapter that was too big to think about all at once. I had been alternating between procrastinating the work or getting a spark of inspiration that I would then run into the ground trying to write it all in one sitting. And that never worked out and left me burned out. This time it was totally different. I made a gentle, happy outline, and then, frankly, I became so high and dizzy with bliss energy that I couldn't write anymore. I had to just stop and relax. I swear, I was swimming in endorphins, and I couldn't even judge myself for not being more productive. Instead of being burned out, I felt myself in this vast space of pure, humming, buzzing energy. It was humbling. I felt like I had done all that I could for now, and it was time to turn the work back over to God, who was now all around me, this energy. Truly, I had done my best, and now I could let God do the rest. The next time, I would be able to do more, but right now, I just needed to take care of myself. So I started to actually feel too high and dizzy, like back in college when I ate too many magic brownies and I couldn't take it back, so my head was splitting open with a gentle but insisting electrical vibration. I've never had a bad Kundalini awakening. Kundalini is when the energy comes up your chakras. Some people have had it really bad. But this feeling too high and out of control a bit was pretty close to a bad Kundalini experience. So I got kind of desperate to ground myself. I started making a good dinner, and then it came to mind some gentle hard rock songs with the most positive lyrics. They popped into my head, and one of them was Easy Living by Uriah Heep. I realized that the words are really appropriate, so it felt like Spirit was talking to me. The words go, "This is a thing I've never known before. It's called easy living. This is a place I've never seen before, and I've been forgiven. Easy living, and I've been forgiven since you've taken my place, your place in my heart." So it was like the Moon Man speaking to me. So now I played those songs that the Spirit suggested, and I found that dancing and singing around to them got the intense, dizzy energy to go deep into my body. I felt calmly powerful and alive, and I was excited to face the challenges of building my whole life the way I've always dreamed. Then after dinner, I lay on the lawn barefoot at night. I watched the stars and the waxing moon until I felt sleepy and ready for bed. In the coming days, I was delighted to find that my entire range of moods had been elevated. My highs were more frequent, resilient, and easier, and my lows came less often. And most importantly, I was no longer getting my old feelings of powerlessness, depression, and despair. I had more energy, more good humor, and a fun favorite Sesame Street song came back to me that spoke to my new relationship with my integrated shadow side. So this is a song that's sung by Grover, that blue guy, and it's called The Monster in the Mirror. The words are actually quite profound when you consider that the outer world, this collective unconscious, is a place where you will find reflections of your own internal selves that you need to recover for a whole healthy life. So Grover says, if your monster has a mirror in it, do not shout. This kind of situation does not call for freaking out. And do nothing that you would not like to see him do, because that monster in the mirror, he just might be you. So dancing around to this song made me laugh. And laughter is a sure sign that you have successfully healed and reached higher levels of joy and gratitude. The nature spirits love to play and laugh naturally. And I'm sure the moon laughs with delight whenever a human being has learned to love themselves more with its help. So that's my healing story. So the next time you have a scary dream, consider what incredible energies you might be ready to heal and claim. At first blush, my Halloween Moonman dream was ominous and supernatural to the point of terrorizing a part of myself. But by holding on to my love and asking for help from so many friends, individuals, groups, parts of myself, spiritual teachers, the earth and the moon, I transmuted a lifelong depression into new levels of energy and alignment with the source and my soul. So now I can continue to enjoy and work with more of my own destiny. It's my path and joy in life to explore and share what it's like to work with source energy. Now I've had a great time celebrating my birthday by reviewing my Moonman story and making this video. I will trust that you've been entertained and excited for more of your own possibilities to heal and live the life that you've always wanted to. Thank you.
If your mirror has a monster in it, do not shout. This kind of situation does not call for freaking out. And do nothing that you would not like to see him do, 'cause that monster in the mirror, he just might be you.